The battle with Babyface and Melanie comes to an explosive ending, and Ghiaccio proves that he's cold as ice. Nice to see you, my friends. It's time to take a look at another episode of JoJo's bizarre adventure, Golden Wind, an episode which was just absolutely filled to the brim with all sorts of amazing action. And this episode might feature one of my favorite set pieces from the entire franchise, which was Giorno and Mista driving in a car across an impossibly long bridge as they are being chased by Ghiaccio, a member of this assassin team who has an incredibly short fuse. In fact, every single time he has these outbursts, I found myself laughing out loud, mostly because his voice actor reminded me of Katsuki Bakugo from My Hero Academia. Well, as it actually turns out, it's the same voice actor! Only Nobuhiko Okumoto could actually scream like that, and honestly, it just made the episode so amazing. And that's just a very small part of what made this episode so great. We got basically two major stand battles in this episode, wrapping up the battle with Babyface and Melanie, and then immediately jumping into one of the most exciting things that I've actually seen from the franchise, so let's just talk about all of the highlights. First, we wrap up the battle with Babyface, which is incredibly awesome because at the end of the last episode, Giorno actually ended up getting the slip on him by inserting that fake hand into his body, which suddenly transformed into a piranha. It's brought to an entirely different level in this episode when he manages to not only insert that hand back into him, but it was actually the motorcycle that was transformed. So this motorcycle just explodes out of this weird stand robot creature, and then suddenly the spark plug goes off and boom! The whole damn thing just ends up exploding. It's really great, and even with that though, Melanie is able to survive. This really shows the extreme power of his stand. The fact that it's sort of like a byproduct of his very own stand means even when you attack the Babyface's creation, this allows him to get out of any sort of damage unscathed, but luckily Giorno has another plan where he takes a small part of the burning Babyface creature and actually transforms it into a snake, which makes its way to the train station where Melanie is and ends up killing him by biting him in the freaking tongue. Ghiaccio predictably is super pissed off and decides to go after the group. They even tease the leading member of the group, Risotto, a little bit in this episode. He's working with this one guy who's trying to track them all down, and he's trying to get some results out of him, and he does so by jamming some nails into his hands, into his eyeballs. I'm not sure what sort of stand power he has, but I'm assuming that it's going to involve nails or some sort of metal weapon of some kind. I don't know. The guy just exudes all of the evilness with his jester hat and his glowing red eyes. But now let's talk about my favorite part of the episode, when Giorno and Mista are driving across this massive bridge to reach Venice. Suddenly they are attacked by Ghiaccio, and it's revealed that his stand powers allow him to basically manipulate ice or to make things very cold. He's actually on top of their vehicle, completely encased in ice to protect him from any sort of attack, and he immediately starts to make the car just completely freeze over. You remember that one scene in the Christmas Story where the kid's tongue gets stuck to the pole? This is like on an entirely different level. It's like a more advanced version of that. Mista actually ends up losing one of his pinkies when he accidentally touches the window, and it just completely rips off and freezes over. Basically, these characters end up getting completely frozen in his car as it gets encased with ice and snow, and there's nothing that they can actually do to control it. That is until Mista decides to get really smart and utilizes his power of his bullets and using the heat that they actually produce to get them out of this sticky situation and to knock Ghiaccio off of the car. The first half of his battle with Giorno and Mista basically just shows the byproduct of his stand's power. It's not until he gets knocked off the car that we actually get to see it in full for the first time, and interestingly, he can wear his stand as a suit of battle armor, which also happens to have ice skates on them, allowing him to skate at extreme high speeds across this highway and even managing to catch up to the car. He even utilizes the misty exhaust which is coming out of the back to create basically a giant ice rope, allowing him to climb up on top of this car like the fucking T-1000. Giorno, in a desperate attempt to get Ghiaccio off of the car, knowing they're so close to Venice, decides to basically just plow the car directly into the river, giving us that classic to be continued screen, and all of the intensity is immediately taken away when you hear Jodeci start singing Freak on You.
Every time I close my eyes, I wake up feeling so horny.
So what's the rundown on this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind? Man, this is just one of those episodes that's perfect in my opinion. It just gave and gave and gave, and it gave us two epic battles. I love that this episode featured two of my favorite characters teaming up, Giorno and Mista. Mista in particular is always fun to watch. It seems like he's the Polnareff of the series, getting the most battles and most showtime, and it's always great because at first his stand just seems so standard in what it can actually do, but he always manages to use it in a very unique way. And even Giorno in this episode was great, especially at the beginning of the episode with tricking Baby Face and being able to destroy it by putting the bike inside of his body. Again, he has one of the most unique power sets in the entire series, and I love how incredibly confident he is about it. He is the son of Dio after all, but he doesn't have any of his douchey qualities. I'm still sort of hoping for that one moment though where he sort of like does what Dio does when he starts punching rapidly, saying muda 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 over and over. He does say that Babyface is useless in this episode, and it immediately made me think of that. It was really great. But that big highway chase scene, that's really what this entire episode was about. So incredibly stylistic and awesome in every way possible, especially with Ghiaccio, who is just a crazy character. Not just his quirk or his stand or his ability to just blow the fuck up with anger, but I love this one scene where he just suddenly transforms into like a grammar and pronunciation Nazi, all about the pronunciation of Venice. I love it. It's hilarious. As someone who actually reviews anime, it's always really funny to see someone completely freak out about the pronunciation of things. I can understand people getting passionate about these sort of things, but this is exactly what I think of when I see commenters saying that I fuck up on names. Just a really pissy dude who's just blowing up for no reason. Tomato tomato, people. Get over it. That being said, it's a funny quirk about the character, and it really enhanced everything about him, but really watching his moveset with him like stuck on top of the car, completely frozen, and then revealing that armor, I cannot express how incredibly awesome and creative that is in this episode. It was a little strange that there was absolutely no traffic that night to witness all of that ridiculousness, but they do emphasize that this bridge that they're on is incredibly long, so we also have to assume that these events are actually going by really quick, and they're just sort of stopping to show us all of the major details, which this one was just filled to the brim with. Also, the shock of Mista losing his finger is still kind of messed up how it happens, but it's been established that with Bruno Bucciarati on the team, anything can be mended back with sticky fingers. There's another major detail that I didn't even mention, which is probably one of the biggest parts about the episode, when Bruno and his gang are actually doing some investigation inside of the turtle, and they use Leone Bacchio's ability to turn back time and to show some of the events that happened here, and it's actually revealed that Mr. Pericolo was actually inside of the turtle at one point, and he actually ended up giving a message to their crew, telling them about how dangerous this squad is, and how there was no way that he was able to escape from them, and that it was only a matter of time before they could potentially catch up. He ends up taking his own life by shooting himself, and it's a pretty dark moment. It also kind of sucks because they gave this guy all the money and now it's completely useless. They could have totally used some of that cash at this point. But I think one of the biggest surprises of this episode is that we actually get our very first glimpse of the boss. Yes, the actual leader of Passione, and it's not exactly what I was expecting, to be perfectly honest, because the whole point of this mission is that they're trying to get to Venice to find this disc that will give them instructions on how to deliver Trish to the boss, and apparently he's already there, and he's not like some big hotshot. Like, he's not wearing a really fancy suit like they've been showing. He's just some, like, weird, creepy dude wearing, like, a black cloak. He doesn't even seem like he looks like the leader of some sort of, like, massive mafia organization. But this is JoJo. You don't judge books by their covers, and you can't really predict anything that could potentially happen, unless, of course, you read the manga version, which in case I don't. Which, again, always enhances my experience with JoJo, as it's just always just such a crazy wild ride every single time. And this episode was certainly no exception, with a great cliffhanger ending. I fucking loved this one so much, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. You guys need to check it out. If any of you did watch the episode, tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. Thank you all for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay damn now, baby.